Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. It is White Rice Wednesday, and it's time for my Survivor recap. So to recap on this week's episode, they're kind of dealing with the whole Mariah vote out last week, and I cannot wrap my head around why they would get rid of Mariah. And I looked through every scenario in my head, and it just does not make sense. And one of the reasons why I said they should have kept Mariah came up tonight because Sammy pointed out that the guys have to stick together because there's 2 girls left. So now the girls are on the bottom and everything. And if they stay girls strong, I mean, it really doesn't matter because they don't have the numbers, but they said they have to make sure, they get the girls off. And you don't want it to be like that in a way. Like, you don't want to, make it like, oh, we have to vote them off because they're a girl. But, I mean, you have the numbers. I mean, that's exactly why I said they should have stayed women strong last week and kept Mariah. Because for this reason. Because the women are now on the bottom and the men are going to control everything. So, they have the power right now. And there was talk about Gabler's advantage because they weren't sure if his idol was good for the next 2 tribal councils or his next 2 tribal, meaning they weren't sure after this tribal council it's null and his idol's null and void, or does it mean when the second time he goes to tribal council, after that it's done. And Ellie did something bold and looked in Gabler's bag and read it, which I appreciate them reading the fine print. It does say that after his next tribal council. So if Yellow goes to tribal again, Gabler has to play his idol, or it's like null and void after that. So that's basically what happened with Yellow tonight. Not too much going on. With Blue, they're starting to notice that Ryan and Gio seem to be a pair, and immediately when I saw them go off last week in a pair to do the stealth challenge, I'm like, that's very dangerous because pairs are they're like a threat. Like, as soon as you see a pair, their minds automatically go, I need to get them out. We need to get them out. Because power duos can be, if they can remain strong, they could be a force to be reckoned with. So there's talk about getting them voted out. And with the red tribe, they're basically it's kind of known, like you kind of see where the lines are being drawn. Like, there seems to be like 3 pairs. Noelle and Justine seem to be well together. I mean, that's obvious. Nneka and Cody seem to be a pair, and Jesse and Dwight seem to be a pair. So that could make for a very interesting tribal council, because if each pair votes for the same person, they could potentially draw rocks. And it had some touching moments tonight that we all can relate to. I know, I believe it was Gio. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Gio was talking about how he came out to his parents and how hard that is. He basically became homeless because his family didn't accept him. And I feel like, that's a common fear in the LGBT community, that, the people that are supposed to love you unconditionally, when you reveal something so personal to them and then they reject you, I mean, that's very shattering. And then he actually said he was homeless for a while. So, I mean, kudos to him for getting out of homelessness. I don't know how else to describe it. Then Ellie was talking about how she's dyslexic and has ADHD, and she had basically the whole school system did not believe in her, and she would get bad grades on tests. And as somebody who has a learning disability, I was fortunate enough to have really great teachers I mean, but there were some that, you know, only saw disability. And with that, like, she also mentioned, like, time test. I still can't take time test, because if I see it's timed, my mind goes blank. Like, I clearly know the material, but when I know I'm being timed on something, I can't do it. That's why, like, an accommodation I have on my test is that I have unlimited time. And then Cody mentioned how he had a friend that passed away from cancer at a young age, and that's going to be very traumatic to go through that. And how he had cancer and then lost a leg. Oh my God, that's horrible. And he grew up in a small town. I also grew up in a small town, clearly not as small as Cody's, but, you know, I kind of get the small town aspect. Like, there's some sort of, like, community there. Like, you all went to preschool, elementary school, and high school together. Like, everybody knows everybody. So that must have been very devastating to lose somebody like that. So the immunity challenge was one of my favorite challenges. They had to get the big snake out of the water over the cage, and then they had to get the snake. They had to get it through obstacles, and then they had to solve a combination lock, and then they had to build a survivor puzzle. I gotta give them credit. At first, it seemed, I wouldn't say neck and neck, but it seemed pretty fair, like it was anybody's game. But Red was falling behind because NECA, I swear to God, I looked up at the TV at one point, and I saw her other 5 tribe mates pushing the snake, and she's just standing there walking, and they're like telling her, you need to help with this. And Yellow actually made a comeback, and they won immunity, and Blue came in second. And I knew Red was going to lose as soon as I saw how slow they were being. And then NECA's also taking breaks. It's like, what the hell? Like, that's just ridiculous. And they also gave her the responsibility of bringing the bag to the puzzle, and their missing puzzle piece that they had was in that bag. So, yeah. And I know what some people might be thinking. They might think, oh, Mariah was voted out last week. If they vote out NECA this week, they're being racist because they voted out 2 African Americans back to back. The thing of it is, and I get that, but I don't care who you are. If you're slowing the tribe down and you do not participate in the challenge, your neck deserves to be on the chopping block. And I was just mind-boggled. So, of course, you know, NECA's name was brought up. And also, too, Justine and Noelle, because they're a pair, trying to get rid of maybe one of them. But it seems like they're leaning more toward Justine, because she's not really doing anything around camp. She seemed a little bit, like, full of herself in a way, like, oh my God, what this is really doing to my nails. Oh my God, like, that could get annoying after a while. So, yeah, I could see that. So, Cody ends up going to look for an idol, and he finds the Beware advantage. And I gotta say, kudos to the production, because this is an amazing advantage, or I should say disadvantage. Basically, what happens is it's completely different from 41 and 42's Beware advantages. So there's 6 of these little beads, and Cody has to collect every single one of them. Like, every tribe mate has a very specific bead they have, and Cody has to collect all of them, or the idol does it. The idol is null and void. So that is very tricky, because how do you go up and say to someone, oh, I want this bead. Oh, why? You know? So, but then again, if he doesn't get the beads from somebody, he loses his vote at tribal council, and votes are essential, especially, you know, this early. So he gets Jesse to help, and I'm thinking to myself, why are you telling him you have this idol? And in a way, I'm screaming like, this is stupid. Do not tell anybody you have an idol. But then again, for something this big, you need all the help you can get. And Noelle actually would not give him the bead at first. And it seemed like NECA was trying to guilt her into it. And it's revealed at Tribal Council that NECA actually did give Cody her bead. So now Cody has an idol. So congrats, Cody. I have to give Cody credit. He was able to pull that off, get every bead from somebody, because also in the fine print it says he cannot steal it, because stealing would just be too easy. He could just go up to anybody's necklace. Now granted, I mean, it would take him time and people would see him taking the bead off, but it would be much easier to steal it than to just say, hey, can I have this, you know? So at Tribal, they talk about how there's distinct alliances, and it's a question of tribe unity and tribe strength. Do they want to stay tribe strong or alliance strong? And at this point, they want to keep winning challenges. I mean, nobody wants to go to Tribal Council. So it was a 90-minute episode tonight, and I'm thinking something big is going to happen. And they mentioned if Cody doesn't have a vote, Dwight doesn't have a vote, 2 vote Justine, 2 vote NECA, they're going to Rocks. So I'm like, oh, that'll be interesting. And then I wonder if this would happen if they did go to Rocks, if Dwight and I cannot think, I just drew a blank. If Dwight and Cody would be immune then, or if they finally went to Rocks, because at that point NECA and Justine would be immune, so then it would come down to them 4. But would Dwight and Cody be a part of that? So amazingly, it ended up being Justine that went home, and I'm thinking, oh my god, is this going to be another J'Tia? Because I remember distinctly in Cagayan how J'Tia was basically just swimming away when they're trying to get balls in the basketball hoop. I'm like, oh my god. So I have nothing against NECA. It's just like, you know, you have to take accountability in the challenge. And she's the reason why they lost. So yeah, and again, we're only viewers. We don't know what goes on out there. But if they had to vote somebody else out, I am glad they got rid of Justine, because Noelle and Justine were getting too close. So if they weren't going to get rid of NECA, I think that was the smart choice. So yeah. So comment down below what you thought of tonight's Survivor. If you want to watch Survivor, it is on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on CBS, or you could live stream it on Paramount Plus. Until next time, stay regal.